In this video, I'm going to show you how to composite your studio photographs into different environment. So let's get started. Hey, what's up guys, Dhruval here and welcome to another video by Tutorials Junction. And as you can see, this is the final output. Now let's get a look at the model. So this is the model we will be using, the right side pose, and this is the building that we will use for the compositing. Okay, first of all, let's look at the final output one more time. Pretty nice. Now let's go to the model. We don't need the left pose, so let's just crop it out. So grab your crop tool from here, and then I'm gonna go and remove it something like this, and confirm it. We don't need this. Grab your move tool, and then I'm gonna press Ctrl A to make selection of the model. Then I'm gonna press Ctrl C to copy it. Go to my building layer here and then press Ctrl V to paste it. Now this document is not needed anymore, so I'm gonna go and close it. No, I don't need to save it. Okay, this is nice. Now let's make the model a bit smaller. I'm gonna press Ctrl T, and when I make it smaller, I'm gonna hold my Shift key. So let's go and make him smaller, something like this. Okay, that's way too small. This should be fine. Let's put him in the middle. Okay, that's nice. Let's make it a little bit smaller so we can remove the background properly. Confirm it. Okay, now we have to remove the background, but before that, let's flip him. So Ctrl T, right click, flip horizontal. So we get the idea. Confirm it. Now I'm gonna go right click here and get a quick selection tool. You can use pen tool. I use that in my original file, which is best, but it's pretty easy image. So as you can see, selection is done. It's pretty easy image, but as you can see here in the fingers, we need to remove some parts. So for that, I'm gonna right click here and switch to my magnetic lasso. So I'm gonna go and also make sure that when you use this, you have to remove selection. So select this third option, and then let's go and remove this. So it did pretty good job. Now let's zoom out. The final selection is done. Now let's apply the layer mask. So go and click on this little icon here and it will apply the mask. Now go back and select your move tool, and move the model exactly the way you want. So the pose and basic composition is ready. Now let's add some shadow because since the hand is here, we need context shadow, and since he is here, this building would be pretty dark compared to others. So grab your brush tool, right click, and let's go make sure hardness is 0%, and in the opacity here, as you can see, I'm gonna go and make it somewhere around like 16%. That's nice. And create a layer under your model. So hold your control key and click on this little icon here, second last, and it will create a layer under your model. Then go and make brush a little bit bigger and paint on this building here. Okay, that's the wrong color. We need shadow, so let's go with black color and do the painting. And when you get close to the hand, make sure you do couple more strokes and make the shadows way darker compared to this downward part. That's looking pretty good. Now let's go and rename this so we don't get confused. Okay, shadows are done. Now let's do some color matching. So for that, we need selection of the model. So hold your control key and click on this layer mask here. So you got selection of the model, we good. Now activate your background layer, this one, and then press Ctrl J. Now if I turn everything else off, you can see I have this copy of the background. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put this copy on top of my model. So go and select all of this, and then let's go and put it on top of the model, and let's name it CC for color correction. Okay, so this is done, right? You can't say it for now, but we have this really nice outline. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to filter, blur, and then I'm gonna go and apply the average blur. So it will create average color of the all the data. That's good. Now go and change its blending mode to color. That's nice. And then change the opacity somewhere around like 20 to 25%. So I think 26 looks good. Now if I zoom in and if I turn it on and off, as you can see the skin tone, let's look at it properly. it matches with the background, and this is one of the most reliable methods. So you can go and keep it somewhere like 30, should be nice. Perfect. Let's zoom out and move on. Also, you have to make it a clipping mask. I will show you why. Right click here, and where is it, create a clipping mask. Then go and create another adjustment layer, and this time select color balance, and then go and turn it into a clipping mask. So because we first created this one into a clipping mask, it will follow this one, and any changes we do here, it will only affect the model, so you can understand. So we have full control over what kind of correction we do. So I'm gonna go and keep it somewhere around like -20. These are my midtones, and the piezo luminosity is turned off. And also add a little bit of red. Always be careful when you add the red, because it can look good for a while but then ruin it. So I'm gonna do same to the highlights. Add a little bit of yellow, not too much, and then a tiny bit of red, not too much. Let's keep it 2 3, and let's keep it somewhere around like -7. Looks nice. Go and close it. Now let's look at the after before. Okay, that's nice. Now we have to cover this half of the model a little bit darker, because the light will come from here. So this should be brighter and this should be darker, or at best they should be even. So I'm gonna go and create a new blank layer, right click and turn it into clipping mask. So anything I paint will only stay on model. Now let's name it or rename it. And just like the building, go and select a brush tool, and in the color I'm gonna go and make it black, and let's flip it. So this is my color. I'm gonna go and start painting here, and also in opacity try to keep it somewhere around like 10%. Okay, that's nice, and let's start painting. Okay, we did a little bit too much, but luckily we can go and reduce the opacity. So try to keep it minimum, and make sure it blends really nice. As you can see, now the impact is way less of that light. So we try to keep it a little bit on even side, this and this. So this is perfectly fine. Now sun is going to be here, as you can see. So we need a little bit of rim lighting. For that, go and create a new blank layer. My regular subscribers should know how to do it. So I'm gonna go and rename it to rim light. And let's create a clipping mask. Right click and create a clipping mask. Now we have to do a little bit painting. It's pretty easy. So as you can see in my color, I have a really whitish desaturated tone of bright orange. As you can see, this is the orange and this is the tone I'm using, similar to sun. So hit OK. Then go and start painting on the edges, and since it's a clipping mask, you don't have to worry too much. Cool. Now go and change its blending mode to vivid light, so it will give you this really nice orange color. And then I'm gonna go and change the opacity somewhere around like 70%, so it blends in really nice. Now it's good everywhere, but here it's a little bit too much. So the biggest advantage is it's separate layer, so you can simply just go and select your eraser, make sure hardness is 0%, and then you can just go and erase it if you don't like it. All the freedom. Now to make it more realistic, we have to add a little bit of more following light to the rim light. So for that, create new blank layer. It's just the same deal. Let's name it. Right click and create a clipping mask so it stays on the model. Pretty easy stuff, you know. Grab the brush tool, and then you can pick up any color from here. So I'm gonna go and pick up a little bit color, something like this. Nice. Now go and paint on this part of the image. This time it should be pretty big. Once this is done, simply just go and change your blending mode to color. Now if I turn it on and off, we have this really nice effect, but it needs some little bit of opacity reduction. So go and keep it down somewhere around here. So I think 33%. Now if I turn it on and off, it gives it this really nice blending. You can increase it a little bit. So I think let's keep it 40. So now if I turn it on and off, it gives it this really subtle mixture of lighting. Now colors and lighting are fine, but as you can see, the contrast of the model is way too much compared to background. So we can fix that. Go and create a new blank layer and get a selective color. and create a clipping mask. Now to remove the contrast, first of all, let's just simply go and start with the blacks, and then I'm gonna grab this slider a little bit on this way. So as you can see, now the contrast has started like getting really close to the background since the blacks are lifted up. Let's try -8. Then I'm gonna go back to my neutrals and add little bit of that back. 4 is fine, so it's not way too flat, and you can also add a little bit of yellow. Let's go to black, and add a little bit of yellow, not too much. Let's try, I don't know, let's try 3 pixel, should be fine. And then let's go to neutrals, and then here I'm gonna go and make it a slightly bit negative so it doesn't look orangish too much. So balancing things out looks pretty good. Then go and close it. So the setup is ready. Now let's go and add some lens flare and lighting effects. So for that, go and create a new blank layer. Grab your paint bucket tool, and the color should be absolute black. Fill it. Go to filter, render, and here lens flare. My favorite one is third one because it has the least detail, so I'm gonna go and keep it somewhere around here. We can judge where the flare will be. Pretty okay. Let's go and hit OK. After that, I'm gonna go and change its blending mode to screen. Then go and grab your move tool from here and keep the sun a little bit here. Now I don't want this thingy here, so I'm gonna just get the eraser and get rid of it, something like this. Okay, now let's go and make it orange. So go to image, adjustment, and go to hue saturation, make it colorize. Oh my god, I do it in every video. So go and increase the saturation a little bit, and we have to make it orange so it blends in really nice with the background. And okay, that's perfect. And you can add a little bit more saturation. I think nah, we will add in later. So this is good. Then go and hit OK. Now I'm going to show you a way to make it even more brighter. Here's a trick. It's same thing. Go and create a new blank layer, grab your brush tool, and you have to pick up a color. So you can hold your Alt key and pick up any color from here. So I'm going to go and pick up a color close to here, something like a perfect. Now go and do a click on a different layer, okay? Don't forget this one. Then go and do a click. And then start changing your blending mode. So I always start with color touch. Okay, not working. Let's try screen. Okay, that's giving it a little bit more impact. And let's try vivid light. Okay, so I think screen is the best. Okay, screen it is. Now let's make it a little bit bigger. So Control T, hold your Alt key and make it a bit bigger, and then a little bit bigger from this side. And then you can adjust it. If you think it didn't do anything, let's turn it on and off. See the impact it gives. Now let's add a little bit more contrast. So for that, go and create new adjustment layer and select curves. I'm gonna make it a little bit brighter from here, and then let's go and make it darker from here. So we have this really cool contrast, and let's lift up the shadows a little bit so they are more faded. That's nice. Now let's go to the blues and let's lift it up a little bit. And let's add a little bit of yellow. I think we can go a little bit heavy with yellows since we have really nice sun and it will look nice. Perfect. Go and close it. Now let's add a gradient. So for that, create new adjustment layer and go to gradients. Here in the color, make it black. The same thing I do in every manipulation. It's the standard procedure I always follow. So go and make it black. It should be absolute black, and its foreground to transparent. Hit OK, and here make it radial, and let's make it reverse. So it's on the outside. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Let's try somewhere around let's try 300. Okay, that's perfect. Hit OK. Then go and change its blending mode to soft light. So now if I turn it on and off, you can see it gives a really nice overall vignette. Now let's go and add a little bit of fog effect. So it's super easy. Go and create a new blank layer from here. Grab your brush tool, and the color should be absolute white. Perfect. And make sure your brush is super big, something like this. And then you just go and simply paint. And that's your fog effect. It's not very good method, but it works on this image. That's why I'm showing you, okay? So that's done, and now we have to crop the image because I think it doesn't look in the proportion right now. So I'm just gonna grab a crop tool and grab a little bit of from the top, and then let's go zoom in. And then I'm gonna crop a little bit from here, somewhere around, okay, that looks nice. And let's a bit from here. Perfect. Now go and confirm it. And now let's make everything a little bit more colorful. So for that, first of all, select the move tool, then go to adjustment layer and select vibrance and add bunch of vibrance, so you have this really nice colorful effect and it looks more lively. So I think 60, 64 is good. Let's turn it on and off. Perfect. And also let's go and reduce the opacity of fog a little bit. It's way too much, so I think 60% is fine. So this is the base image and this is the compositing we did. So I really hope that you guys learned something from this video, and if you did, hit that like button, and if you have any kind of questions or suggestions, ask me in comment section below. And if you want to check out more tutorials by me, you can click on any of these boxes, and you can also subscribe to my channel. So every time I upload a new video, you will get the update, plus clicking on that subscribe button will take you to my YouTube channel, where I have tons of Photoshop tutorials just waiting for you. So till then, goodbye, take care, and have some fun with Photoshop.